what would you say are three aspects um, that make good architecture?
Well, the to me, what defines architecture as opposed to a building. I think Luke Kahn said it the most poetically, that architecture shelters your spirit, and buildings just shelter you.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you shelter the spirit? Well, I think it comes with an appreciation for all of the pieces, all of the components, and when there's a relationship between all the components, and I'm talking, a component is a community and it's a building. A component is this hemisphere and this city, and the doorknob and the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
There's a continuity, there's a relationship between all the parts. One complements the other, and both are better because of the other parts, or all the parts are better because of the other parts. So that to me is the test
Mm-hmm.
of architecture. The other test would be, and again it has to be related to this just by definition, that the architecture, unlike buildings, will give more back than it takes. And you'll hear me say that often about people or buildings. And the giving back more than it takes would be about, if a family's living there, their lives are enriched because of the way the light moves through the house. If a community is living there, and this building is part of their community's better because of the building. Either it's providing a service, or it just created a park where there didn't even have to be one, but because the architect cared enough, something happened that became an amenity to the street or to the neighborhood, something like that. That also has to do with so-called sustainability, that we aspire to consume as little energy as possible. We aspire to hopefully have self-reliant, self-sufficient buildings sooner than later. That's giving more than you take. A third, either the list is really short or it's really long.
Right.
That's probably true with any profound question.
Right.
There's either one answer or many.
Yes.
But since you asked for three, the third one, what makes architecture, what makes good buildings, I think, I think they can't be a burden. I live in a house I designed. I love the house. It's a beautiful home. Every day it enriches my life. It's definitely giving more than it takes. But I made a mistake. When I designed the house, we had 2 kids living at home, and I think it was too big even then, but it's way too big now because it's just Lisa and I living there, and so there's an expense associated with anything you own, especially if it's the size of a house.
Right.
I mean, that has an expense to it, and if you have it send it to the cleaners, that's another expense.
Right.
But the house is kind of a burden now, and so what was this absolutely delightful piece of architecture now has a little bit of a negative associated with it. The lesson learned is that I am reminded to try and educate my clients to not think in quantitative terms. Think in qualitative terms, you know, can a space, one space be flexible enough to deliver 3 programs as opposed to having 3 different spaces for 3 different programs?
Right.